Have you always wanted to see a video game have an identity crisis? Well, Nintendo heard you.
Planet Puzzle League for the Nintendo DS, or otherwise known as Tetris Attack for the Game Boy and Super Nintendo, or otherwise known as Panel to Pawn in Japan, or otherwise known as Pokemon Puzzle League for the Nintendo 64, or otherwise known as Pokemon Puzzle Challenge on Game Boy Color, or otherwise known as Back to Puzzle League bundled in with Dr. Mario on Game Boy Advance, otherwise known as I'm having an identity crisis and my plea for help is in video game form.
I can't wait anymore.
Bullshit aside, Planet Puzzle League is a pretty simplistic, easy-to-play puzzle game that came out in 2007 for the Nintendo DS, as part of Nintendo's initiative to make simplistic games that anyone could play. Touch Generations, which was a lineup of games for not just the Nintendo DS, but also for some reason the Nintendo Wii. And it featured games like Magnetica, Big Brain Academy, and for some fucked up reason, Elite Beat Agents. Yeah, all these simple, easy-to-play games. And then an Osu clone. Yeah, that fits the Touch Generations label. Just slap it on there. They won't know. This game's pretty easy. If you've played a game like Tetris Attack or Pokemon Puzzle League, or for that matter, Puzzle League on Game Boy Advance, you should know a thing or two about this game. It's simple. You just match blocks up in rows of 3 or more, and don't reach the top or else game over. There's not really a lot I can say about the game itself other than that. It's simple, it's probably, it's one of the more easier puzzle games I can think of. However, I would also like to compliment some parts of the game, including the soundtrack. Allow me to give you some examples of the game's soundtrack. The music of video games like these are kind of underlooked, and that's a very big shame, because I love the soundtrack to this game, and I especially love the soundtrack to the next game we're going to be reviewing. Planet Puzzle League doesn't have just one game mode, though. As a matter of fact, it has a multitude of game modes. There's some daily play modes, there's Nintendo Wi-Fi modes, but like I've stated in the Touchmaster episode, Nintendo Wi-Fi is kind of, well, I don't know, dead. However, there are revival servers, if you can even connect to them. Essentially what you're getting in this game is Tetris Attack, but with a fresh coating of paint. This paint being in the style of something that was popular at the time, Fruitige era. Something that's been coming back to life as of recent, but companies have been a little slow to realize, oh shit, we can capitalize off of this. Again. Overall, Planet Puzzle League's a pretty simple yet fun game. Don't be surprised if you catch yourself wasting maybe an hour or two on this game. We give it an 8.5 out of 10.
So is Planet Puzzle League, a pretty simplistic, fun, challenging puzzle game. Something that I've definitely remembered from the Tetris Attack days when I actually had a cartridge for the Super Nintendo. If you had a sharp eye, I actually threw a copy of Space Invaders. And if you actually did see that, I am genuinely surprised. Are you human? Anywho, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some balls. Son of a...
Hey, thanks for watching this G4ever video. Consider subscribing. It really helps me with the algorithm. On another hand, if you want to support me financially, check out G4ever Plus. For just $5 a month, you can get early access to upcoming G4ever content, and also your name in the credits of every video, as a simple thank you for your support and help throughout this project. Once again, $5 a month at tinyurl.com/G4everplus. Consider supporting. It means everything to me. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back to Freeplay. My name is Dan. Balls. Send tweet.
Magnetica was released in 2006 for the Nintendo DS as part of the launch of Touch Generations, which means it launched with Big Brain Academy as well. The game is pretty simplistic, just like the previous game we talked about, Planet Puzzle League, except this time it's a little bit more challenging in a sense. Basically, the goal of the game is to try and keep the magnetic colored orbs from hitting the reactor core. You do that by matching orbs in a row of 3 or more by shooting colored orbs at that. Magnetica has different modes to spice up the game. You get your regular challenge mode, which basically throws everything it can at you until eventually you either win or reach the reactor core and get a game over. There are other modes like Quest Mode, which gives you the same stuff as Challenge Mode, though it's a little more lenient on you and it packs more of a punch when it comes to certain levels. Some levels will change the trajectory of where your orb is going, and some levels will block your view by clouding it up, and the only way to clear that view is by blowing into the mic of the DS. Then you have Puzzle Mode, which basically gives you a certain amount of these colored orbs, and they want you to try and match them in a way that completely clears the entire board. Some of them I still haven't beaten because of their difficulty. Also because... oh, hold on.
Oh hey, my delivery's here. I didn't know the puzzle techniques in Magnetica to solve every puzzle in puzzle mode. I was just a dumb kid. Leave me alone. Sir, this is the third time you've given me a monologue about video games. Just pay for the damn pizza.
May I also remind you that this was one of the games that supported the Nintendo DS Rumble Pack. This thing was not widely used, and I don't understand why it even exists. In the case of Magnetica, you get rumbles every time you toss an orb at the chain, or it rumbles in a long, constant way when you get a game over. It's nothing but haptics, and it's a little bit of a disappointment. Especially for me, when I spent $20 on this. Why did I spend $20 on something so useless? Then again, I could have blown my money on worse things, like the Nintendo DS browser. But if you weren't one of the schmucks that bought a Rumble Pack just for this game alone, Magnetica is a pretty okay title. And you might be thinking to yourself throughout the entirety of this video, this game looks like Zuma. And to that I say, oh, you opened up a giant can of worms on that one. Apparently when Zuma came out in 2003, Mitchell Corp was pissed about the game's existence, being that it was a deliberate copy of Puzzloop, or Magnetica. They wanted to try and press charges in court against PopCap. By the time they did it, PopCap had grown to be a big industry. And by the time they were really considering it during the DS era, when Zuma's Revenge came out, At that time, PopCap had been bought out by EA Games, so they eventually just gave up any hope on trying to pursue legal action against Zuma. Despite Zuma having, well, different mechanics, different art style, different music, it was pretty much the same idea, but they tried spicing it up so that way it was technically their idea. Not to mention, Mitchell Corp isn't exactly one to call out copyright infringement. Despite all this, Mitchell Corp claims to have had their game Magnetica stolen from them by defendant PopCap. However, it's with great honor that I would like to state Mitchell Corp is not one to complain about theft, when they themselves have stolen from a developer prior to this. I present Pang to the court. Your Honor, my client Nintendo was never informed by Mitchell Corp that they had plagiarized prior to their publishing deal. Noted. Continue forward. This incident was years prior to Magnetica vs. Zuma. As a matter of fact, the game Pang took from a game that predated it by just a mere 7 years. The original game was Cannonball by Hudson, a game for the MSX, with the exact same gameplay. So if Mitchell is up in arms about a company copying what they believe to be theirs, then why'd they do the exact same thing years prior to this entire case? Make him stop, please. You knowingly stole a game from 1982 and attempted to play it off as yours in 1989 for arcades, and it went to be a big success, even getting Capcom involved in your scummy theft. I present Capcom Puzzle World to the court. This software features not just the original Pang, but its sequels 2 and 3 under different titles. Mitchell and Capcom seized the profits and Hudson didn't see a single dime. So how fair is it to deliberately steal a project from 82, re-release it in 89 for the arcades, and profit from it for years on end? Enough profit to make 2 more sequels and continue re-releasing it to consoles like the PSP, and furthermore, may I remind the court... Shit, he's right. He's absolutely right. I can't defend myself. Order in the court. Order! It is with no doubt that given the evidence provided by Mr. Wright, that Mitchell has stolen a game from a publisher before, and thus lacks the credibility for a case against the defendant, PopCap Games. What say you, representative of Mitchell Corp? You've dug quite a hole for yourself in the company you represent, all right here in front of this court. I surrender the case. Your Honor, I received word from my client Nintendo that they will no longer be working with Mitchell Corp due to this case. They are currently in talks about removing Magnetica Twist from their Wii Shop channel service. Noted, Mr. Edgeworth. It seems this case is cut and dry. We, the court, find the defendant... We also find that Mitchell Corp is due for another case, as I see it fit to fight against Hudson for their infringement, and scheduling for said case will be determined in the coming weeks. Court is dismissed. God, Roy is so gonna kill me! This part never happened in any courts. Like I stated before, by the time Mitchell wanted to pursue legal action, PopCap had already been bought out by Electronic Arts, and the window for legal jurisdiction was already out. And also, by the time EA had bought out PopCap, PopCap had already started killing themselves, contrary to the popular belief that Electronic Arts killed PopCap. No, they essentially killed themselves. To explain in further detail, by the time the legal cases were going about and the whole dispute between Mitchell and PopCap were going around, PopCap had released a game called Plants vs. Zombies, a game that was so popular that they realized, this is our breadwinner. This is our popular IP. Like, this is us. We did this. And they started to ride off the success of Plants vs. Zombies at the expense of their other players. They started to ditch the names of Bejeweled, Zuma, and even Peggle. Now, pretty much all you see from PopCap is Plants vs. Zombies. And sadly, that's all you're ever going to get out of them anymore. They've moved on from their classic days, and I guess that's just a sad fact we have to come to terms with. Overall, Magnetica's a pretty okay game, and if you love Zuma clones or vice versa, then this is a game for you. We give it a 6.5 out of 10.
It's a fun little game and it's a neat little distraction, but eventually it gets repetitive and it starts to really piss you off at times. Magnetic's a fun game, a challenging one, but it really shouldn't be the kind of game that makes you want to snap your DS in half. They also really should have implemented a lot more stuff with the Rumble Pack, instead of it being useless as it is. But then again, this is Nintendo, and they're kind of prone to making pretty bad decisions with their hardware. My name is Dan, this has been Freeplay. I have no idea what next episode's going to be about, so just be patient.